Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Android Weekly, and this one is a special weekly because we're going to be answering all of your questions about the Galaxy Note 5 and the S6 Edge Plus. Now, make sure if you start watching, you ask all your questions in the comment section down below. I am going to go over a couple of articles that talked about either the devices themselves or some related articles about them that I feel that you guys would want to see. Then I'm going to go into the questions that were emailed to me during the week, which if you ever have a question, just email me at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com and just make sure your subject is question. Then finally, we will be going to the viewer question. So again, if you have a question, make sure to ask in the comment section down below, and I will get to it before the end of the show. All right, let's start off with the first part, which is there is leaked documents showing the S7 is testing with a Snapdragon 820 and Android M. This is pretty insane for a couple of different reasons. One is Samsung is currently not using Snapdragon anymore, and I'd be surprised, to be honest, if they would go back, just because I'm sure they've done such a not only a performance boost, in my opinion, compared to the A10 processor, but easily you can see a profit boost for them in this regard. So I don't see why they would go back to Snapdragon. Maybe Qualcomm just gave them an amazing deal for that, but it's really kind of curious to see if this happens. Also, the fact they would be testing this out would mean that it would come earlier in 2016 than the normal time, which I would say is more likely like April or May. Now, Samsung is also going to bring us Tony Stark. No, well, basically, they're bringing us holographic icons. So, the idea behind this is there would be a case that would actually project what's on your screen and make it a holographic image. Now, these images are relatively small. They're not as big as, say, like a lifelike image, but it's still pretty impressive to get that, to know that we're getting something like this in the future. I think it's a really interesting idea, and I, for one, would be very curious to see how this would go, not only now, but later on down the line. Now, in specific Note 5 news, we have a couple of different things. So the first one is that the Note 5 is being demanded by the UK. Yes, right now, as of now, the UK is not getting the Note 5, and this is a big thing of contention for a lot of people, because despite Samsung thinking that people will get the S6 Edge Plus only, Europe and a lot of the world really doesn't feel that way. They prefer the Note 5, and the Note 5 isn't going there. So the Clove UK, which is a pretty big retailer, is actually having a petition go around to ask Samsung to bring the Note 5 to Europe. Will it work? I honestly could see this working. Samsung is pretty reactive a lot of the times, so I could see them possibly switching this up and ramping up if they see a demand for it, if they see they're going to get sales for it, I think they could do it. Also, the CEO did say that there will be a new Gear VR coming soon to Samsung. Now, this will most likely be the one that would work with the Note 5 and the S6 Edge, although these are two different phones, so I'm really curious to see how they would fit both of these devices. However, all in all, I don't believe that they will. I believe if they do this, they're really going to go to having different plates in the front for different phones, and then it can just be compatible with every current Samsung device. I think it has to be the way that Samsung ends up going. What do you guys think? Are you tired of buying a new Gear VR every time? I know I am. And then the final news: Samsung sent out an infographic that shows off the new features of Android M when it comes to Samsung. So you will have app permissions, of course, which will allow you, like, do you want this app to allow you to access this feature? If not, then deny it. If you will, then allow it. Track memory. This is just, again, a better way of tracking memory. A lot of issues from Android Lollipop were because of memory card issues, so you won't be having this anymore. You also have quick fingerprint access, so it's going to be native to Android. So this will just allow you to pay for things like on the Play Store with your fingerprint. You're gonna have an automatic backup thanks to Google Drive. Your 25 megabytes of per app storage will be allowed for backing up user data. So if you have a game that doesn't save your doesn't save everything you have by cloud storage, which shame on the game for doing that, Google is now picking up the slack. And then you have power saving mode. It'll just be a native thing to Android Lollipop itself. All right, that was all the weekly news. Again, if you have a question about the Note 5 and the S6 Plus, ask it in the comment section right now down below. And now I'm going to ask the questions that were emailed to me during the week about the Note 5 and all of the other products. Will there be an official list which carriers get the Note 5 and all of the sorry guys, there's a fly that's really bugging me over here. Will there be a carriers list that gets to Note 5 and when? Well, yes. So the main four are getting it. So Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Sprint are all getting the Note 5. So all four of them will be getting it. That is confirmed now. Are you going to do a comparison review on the Galaxy Note 5 and the S6 Edge Plus? I'm leaning towards the Note 5 because of the pen. The Plus looks so good too. Also, would you choose the Note 5 over the Note 4? All right, so there's a couple of questions here. One, will I be doing a comparison between the Note 5 and S6 Edge Plus? Yes, that will be filmed this week, and it should be put up by the 21st. Yes, by the 21st, which is the launch date for these two devices. That comparison will be put up before then. So you will see a side-by-side comparison between these two devices before the 21st on Android, on Ask the Android Guy. And would I choose the Note 5 over the Note 4? Now, I'm halfway through my comparison right now, okay? So I'm halfway through it. I have fully tested out things like the battery. I've fully tested out the device in terms of endurance and daily usage. I've had it for a good amount of time now. So would I recommend the Note 5 over the Note 4? In a heartbeat. I've had the Note 4, I've had the Note Edge, I've had the S6, I've had the S6 Edge. Trust me when I say the Note 5 is so much better than those devices. It's not even close. It's really not even close. The speed on this phone, I have been overwhelmingly impressed with. This phones move incredibly fast, and I don't say that lightly, but it really, I didn't think that it would be that much faster, and then I really got a sense of what having DDR4 RAM really meant on a phone as versus a computer, as well as just how fluid a device can be. And yes, it is easily. If anyone were to ask me right now, should I get a Note 5 over a Note 4? The answer would be yes. Now, if you have specific questions about that comparison, ask it in the comment section and I will get to it before. But if you're just asking the question, would I get a Note 5 over a Note 4? Yes. Not even, I wouldn't hesitate. Yes. I have a Note Edge. I've seen the Samsung Unpacked conference. I would say I'm not too impressed. The Note 5 or the Note S6 Edge, I can live without the removable battery and the SD card. Do you think it's worth upgrading to the Note 5 from the Note Edge? In my opinion, the Note has more features. The Edge screen, I can use the Edge screen without hardly using my home screen. Why can't Samsung upgrade the Note Edge? So a couple of different things. So for one, would I upgrade from the Note Edge to the Note 5? Yes, again. For one, just the being able to use it. The Note Edge was a little awkward. I had that phone for 6 months and it was my daily driver. It is a little awkward, especially when taking photos. And most people would agree to that have the Note Edge. In terms of how it moves, in terms of how much better it is that much better in terms of speed, tremendously faster than the Note Edge. But if you're really just looking for app features, like swiping apps on the side, there are plenty of apps for that, and some of them have. One of them I know for a fact has been on our top apps of the month, and that was Swaps, SWAPPS, and that perfectly mimicked what you would do on the Edge screen. You could put your apps there. You can put your 5 favorite or not 5. You can put however many favorite contacts you want, and you can do that. And it's just like an Edge panel, but you just have it on the side of your phone instead. You swipe, and it comes up, and then you select whatever you want. It's really comparable to having an Edge screen. However, if you just want an Edge screen and you don't use the pen, then the S6 Edge is an upgrade from the Note Edge. The S6 Edge, or sorry, so the S6 Edge, the Edge Plus. I hate Samsung's name for this phone. I hate it. The Edge Plus is an upgrade of the Note Edge without the pen. That's all. Again, if you never use the pen, which let's be honest, most Note users never use the pen. So if you never use the pen, the Edge Plus is an upgrade of the Note Edge. And is it going to have all the features? No. But if all you're looking for is switching between apps and your 5 favorite contacts, which were 2 of the biggest used Edge features, then you're set. So that's my opinion in terms of the Note Edge from the other phones. All right, I'm a current Note 3 user, previously on a Note 2. So they took away the IR blaster, and that does bug you. It bugs me too. That is one thing that I will I think the every reviewer that I know has been upset about this. Why did they take away the IR blaster? It makes no sense. It really doesn't. I don't understand. I really don't understand why they took the IR blaster away. I cannot comprehend why they did that. It makes no sense to me. It should be there. It just should. There's no reason why they had to take away the IR blaster. It was working. A lot of people used it, and maybe like they were like, well, maybe not that many people did. We noticed it more on that than like, I know they didn't have it on the Tab A. That was the first kind of device that, wait, where's the IR blaster? But to not have it on a Note, which is your power consumption device, which is your multimedia device, that's a big miss, Samsung. You need to put that IR blaster back immediately on every phone from now on. That's it. Do it. So have you experienced appreciation for the S Pen to the point of you're willing to be without an IR blaster? Since I really usually discuss, maybe demonstrate the ways you can. So would I use the S Pen on this new device is essentially what you're asking. So for one, I do love the feature that when you click it, you can immediately pull out I apologize for this writing, and immediately start writing on there. I love that feature. That feature alone will allow you to use the S Pen more because a lot of people didn't use it because of the fact that really, why? Because if I have to, oh my God, take the pen out, I have to double tap, I have to do all this, kind of crazy stuff just to write a note, it's not going to cut it. Samsung learned with this product, and it is a lot better for that purpose. The main thing that I use the pen for, though, is highlighting text that you can normally not highlight. For instance, let's see, let's go on. So, for instance, right? Yeah, let me just do this with this one. Instagram. You cannot normally highlight text on Instagram. So I posted this thing, right, on Instagram. And say I wanted to copy this hashtag and everything that everyone said. So what I cannot do on Instagram is highlight anything. However, I can, with the pen, highlight everything on Instagram that otherwise could never be highlighted. That's something you can do with a pen on any app. I use it in my workplace because I can actually copy and paste just a section. So if someone posts numbers, right, and I just want the numbers for what I care about, I can just highlight that one section and not the entire text. That's a big deal to me, and that's the reason why I would use the S Pen in itself. But the new feature, well, writing with the screen off, is a really big feature that you'll love with the Note 5. Which do you prefer, the S6 or the Edge Plus or the Note 5? Are you going to do a comparison of them? I will do a comparison on them, and which one I prefer, you'll find out when I do the comparison. Although, if you know me well enough, you'll probably can guess already which one I like more. Presently using Note 2. Was waiting for the Note 5 with a smaller battery and the fact that the phone isn't coming to the UK. Do you advise me to get the Moto X style or the Note 4? My only concern is the multi-screen, which only Samsung offers. So multi-screen should be coming to phones with Android M, which the Moto style will end up getting. So don't think of it too harshly in terms of multi-screen, because that could be available on the Motorola X style. However, smaller battery, the Note 5, I can confirm, lasts longer than the Note 4. So the smaller battery business, I think people are kind of forgetting that it was the same issue with the S6. The S6 has a smaller battery than the S5, but the processor inside of the Note 5 gives it a longer battery life than the Note 4. So yes, I can confirm that now, that the Note 5 battery lasts longer than the Note 4 did. And which one would you get between the Note 4 and Moto style? Say if you're still not convinced, and you know it's not coming to the UK, so it's hard to get in the UK for the Note 5. Would you get the Note 4 or the Moto X style? Well, here's a question I also have to ask you. Because you're asking me the Moto X style, which doesn't have a stylus, why wouldn't you get the Edge Plus that has all the same horsepower of the Note 5? In terms of comparing it to the Note 4, the Edge Plus would completely destroy the Note 4 in terms of speed and performance and camera. So that would be my question to you. Now, if it's a price issue, I completely understand that. And both of those two phones, the Note 4 and the Moto X style, are less expensive. Between those two, I couldn't say, to be honest, because of the fact that I haven't used the Moto X style. Motorola is notorious for having not so good cameras, especially when it comes to low light. This phone is supposed to change that, but I haven't reviewed it to be able to tell you if that's true or not. So that is what I would say for that phone. All right, guys, I'm about to look at all the comments that you guys have posted. So again, if you have a question that you want me to answer, just leave it down in the comment section below, and we have a good amount of questions here. Okay. Is it okay to use the phone when it's charging, fast charging? It's okay to use it, but you have to realize that because it's metal and glass, while it's charging, it will get hot. Metal and glass are not going to temper heat as well as the plastic did from Samsung in years past. So you have to realize that it's not going to do it as well. So that is the way it's unfortunately going to be. It's going to be warmer, which is one of the reasons why while I do use fast charging in my car, I actually don't use fast charging really ever at home unless like my phone is dying and I'm about to leave. The reason is because I use wireless charging, because that makes sure your battery never goes bad. What about the LG Urbane LTE? Was it an empty promise? I believe the LG Urbane LTE did come out, but only in certain countries. It was not supposed to be a wide release or a wide launch. So that is, as far as I know, that's what LG had planned from the beginning. I believe it is out in countries like Korea, but it is not out internationally everywhere right now. No. Regarding what is missing on the Note 5, I can't believe it's perfect for me. I won't miss what's not on it, like the IR blaster. Okay. Is it worth it to buy the Note 5 depending on price and features? It is worth it to buy the Note 5, especially because the Note 5 is actually less expensive than the goddamn, than the Edge Plus. It is less expensive than Edge Plus, so yes, it is worth it for the price. I plan on buying the Note 5, but don't you think that Samsung should have made a power user of the phone with storage expansion and removable battery? Okay, so this is one of the topics that I knew would come up, and that I will do a separate video for, but I really wanted to address this. And I'm being really honest with you guys. Memory cards are over in terms of phones with Samsung's technology. And let me explain that. Samsung's new phones come with a built-in technology, and let me see where I believe it's called the UFS or USF. Let me see. Oh, I had a picture of it. That's right. Nope. Okay. But yes, sorry. While I pull this up, let me explain what this means. It means that this speed, here it is. So let's pull this up for you guys to see. That this phone speed goes, sorry, got to do a lot of connections here. Okay, so let's show you this. This memory speed goes in at 350 megabits per second when it comes to reading, and 150 megabits per second when it comes to writing. Your memory cards will go in at 90 and 40. Your fastest speed micro SD card in the world right now. So the only thing that consumers can buy, the fastest one for this year that is relatively new is 99 and 95. Do you realize how much slower this phone would have to go and how much you would throttle your phone to put a memory card in it? And this is the most expensive high-speed memory card, which, let's face it, probably most people watching this do not own that fast of a memory card. I didn't own that fast of a memory card. I owned a 45 megabits per second, and that went just fine in the old phone technology. The speed of this flash memory is so freaking fast, and I wouldn't trade that for the world, because I know that that is what's powering this phone, and that's what's making it as fast as it is. I wouldn't go back. I would never go back. I am very content with a 64 gig version. I'm not content with the 32 gig version. With a 64 gig version, I can make it work, especially now with Google Photos backing up unlimited photos and unlimited 1080p videos. I'm fine. I'm fine now. I really am. I can say that after doing with the S6, which had the same built-in, but had so many memory leak issues that really slowed it down, now being to the Note series, where it has no memory leak issues and where it's performing faster than any phone I've touched this year, yes, I am fine with not having a micro SD card, and I can see why Samsung will never put a micro SD card in their phones again that use this technology, because I don't want to throttle my own phone by putting a slower memory card in. And this memory card I would spend $100 on, and it's going to slow down my phone. It wouldn't make sense. It's throttling down. It's like if you would go on a carrier that tells you, we're going to give you unlimited 4G, but you're going to be throttled the entire time. It's not useful, and that's why I don't feel that memory card would be an issue anymore. Now, when it comes to removable battery, most people still don't know this, and I still don't know why Samsung hasn't made this more public. Removable batteries were purchased apparently very little. Apparently on the S5, less than 5% of their customers or something like that bought a replacement battery. So first of all, they weren't selling. Second of all, with the replacement batteries, that was a huge issue, in my opinion, at first. Again, after being with the S6 for well, not 6 months, it was since April, so about 4 months now. seeing since then, being with it that entire time, I can tell you that with wireless charging, your battery's never going to go bad anymore. So the reason why people would normally replace their battery is, say, if they kept their phone for 3 years or 2 years or even over a year and your battery life starts sucking after a year, get a wireless charger. Wireless charger can never overcharge your battery. Plain and simple. The electricity that's going into it, the voltage that's going into it is not as much, so the battery cannot get swollen up like it would on your current phone with a replacement battery. Now, if you were to ask me if I would rather have a battery I could take out or a battery that I can just either quickly charge or wirelessly charge, I would take over the wireless charger every day of the week. And again, this is after being with these kind of devices for a while and changing from where I was to now where I am, because I was on that side. I was on, how can I not have a phone with expandable memory and replacement battery? I no longer think that way at all. How do I like the Note 5 battery? So I will give you, just because you guys are asking about the battery, I will give you an idea. First of all, I will say, going from an S series to a Note series again, oh my God, there's so many things I missed about the Note. There's so many things I missed about the Note. The bigger screen, I missed tremendously. The pen, I'm so happy to have the pen back. But it's really the polished UI as well. Like, everything just feels so much better on the Note 5 than it did on the S6 or the S6 Edge. Now, in terms of battery life, I took this screen capture, and I'll put the battery brightness really low so you guys can see it. But it lasted a good, and I'll explain what I was doing for most of the day. So it lasted a good 14 hours, basically. And you can see I was using a lot of things. The main thing I was using, though, was navigation, split screen with YouTube throughout almost the entire day. And it maintained 14 hours of using that without putting it on the charger, without doing anything like that. That's pretty damn impressive. To use split screen on two heavy intensive features, navigation and that, I was very impressed by that. So the battery life is really stupendous. And this one I tested out with that. With the Edge Plus, I did heavy gaming on it, and I got roughly the same. It was about 14, it was about 14 and a half hours on the Edge Plus, and that was really intensive gaming. So I played a game on it throughout the entire day one day, and it lasted that long. That's very impressive, and it's something that I cannot say about any other phone in the market right now. So when it comes to speed, it was good, but really the battery life is really good. And it's funny because coming from the S series, I had to charge it. You know, when I got in my car, immediately plugged the Galaxy S6 and S6 Edge in, immediately every time. As I've been going to work and been doing things with these phones, I go there and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm at like 90%. I'm like at 80%. I don't need to charge my phone. And that is such a good feeling, having the Note again and feeling that way. Like, oh, wait, I'm not at 50%. I'm not like rapidly losing battery. The Note is so good when it comes to that. Both of these, by the way, I'm using to their full extent how I would normally use them. I have about 10 gigs of free storage on each of them right now. And I'm still loading more stuff, so it would probably be even more intensive. But just to give you an idea of how much storage I'm already using on these devices, I'm using them as I would normally use them. Would you recommend for power users the Note 4 or the Note 5? Power users, easily the Note 5. This is why. If you want to be a power user, the Note 5 blows the Note 4 out of the water in terms of performance. And you know why? Because Lollipop really screwed over the Note 4. If you're a Lollipop user and you have the Note 4, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It was more laggy. It started hiccuping more. And the Note 4 performed fine on KitKat. But as soon as you upgrade to Lollipop, it really screwed it over. And you know what? I don't see it getting any better within the next 2 to 3 months. So for that peace of mind alone, power user, I would definitely recommend the Note 5. Now, if you are concerned about battery life as a power user, again, you can still do things like removing, fast charging it. I have in my car, I have the Samsung fast charger, which does charge up my phone very quickly when I need it to. So great for that feature. I also do have the fast chargers at my desk so I can quickly charge. However, with the new fast wireless charging, I'm just going to use that. I will buy that product, and I'm just going to use that from now on because the fast charger does make the phone hot. It does make the phone hot. But with the fast wireless charging, it shouldn't make the phone hot, just like the regular wireless charging doesn't make the phone hot. Could you discuss about the unbundling that's going on with U.S. carriers? I wanted to get either the Note 5 or the S6 Plus, but AT&T think now requires buying the phone outright or paying a monthly fee. So basically they're not doing 2-year contracts anymore. This is true. So every carrier is going away from contracts. If you are a current contract person, sorry, they're going the way the rest of the world does it, where it's not contract based. Most of the world does not do contracts anymore, and the US is now following this. However, people, I feel, are too, there's trigger words, right? First of all, people didn't like the word contract to begin with. Like, you're in a contract. Like, oh my God, I'm in a 2-year contract. When, let's face it, most of the time you don't change your carrier anyway. So there's that. Secondly, you are on these new plans, you are paying the phone off monthly, right? So in a lot of cases, your bill is now higher monthly, but you didn't pay that initial $200 or $300 for a phone like the Note you normally would have beforehand. So this is the difference though now. Now that you don't have these kind of things, you can upgrade more quickly. So if you're worried about the fact that, oh my God, now I'm paying full price for a phone, $800, $700 for some of these phones. Well, you have to realize if you're not upgrading every year, then yes, you are paying that full price for the phone. But for most people, they will do what you can do, which is every year you can upgrade. So with Verizon's Edge plan, with AT&T's Next plan, with T-Mobile's Jump, and with Sprint's leasing, you basically get a new phone every year. You get a new phone every year, and that way you only paid half of what the phone would normally be. So on a $600 phone, you paid $300, which is more than, again, the 2-year contract price you would have paid before. I'm not denying that, but the plans did go down. If you look at the plans now compared to the plans 3 years ago, 4 years ago, the plans just went down a bit. So it does average out to be about the same as you were paying before if you pay it halfway. If you pay it halfway and then you jump immediately to the plan, you're not paying more than you were. Me and my friend actually did like an entire breakdown of how everything worked and everything like that with the 2-year contract and which phones you would get and all that kind of stuff. And we compared it, and it was really impressive of how much, in terms of the storage, that it was, sorry, not in terms of storage. I just saw a question about storage, of how pretty much the same it was. It really was the same, just in a different kind of wrapping, basically. All right. Do you think that the 128 gig version come out of the S6 Plus, Note 5, do you think they have done away with completely the S6 128 version not selling? So yeah, I do believe that the 128 Galaxy S6 version did not sell that well. And that's honestly part of the reason why we haven't seen much talk about the Note 5 128 gig and the Edge Plus 128 gig. However, I feel that's a mistake from Samsung's part, but I also feel it's a carrier issue. You have to understand, Samsung goes to carriers and be like, and is like, and are like, God, and are like, look, we have these phones. If you want this 128 gig version, you need to order a minimum of 10,000 of them, so it's not a waste of our time and yours. Carrier's like, let me see. Let's see, your 128s haven't really sold that well in the past. I'm going to pass on the 128 gig. And that's what happens. If there is more demand for this one, then maybe that will change it. But yes, the S6 128 gigs did not sell that much, as far as I know. So yeah, I think that will hurt the Note 5 and Edge Plus coming in 128 gig for the US. In other parts of the world, I'm not sure of, but I know not everywhere is getting the 128 gig. I'm skeptical if the US will really get it. Everything I've seen has pointed at 32 gig and 64 gig pricing, but nothing about the 128 gig pricing. So I honestly don't believe it's coming to the US. Is it okay to delete miscellaneous files on your phone? Yes, it is okay to delete them, as long as you know what you're doing. Let me put it that way. I would say if it's a file you really aren't sure what it is, get something like Cleanup Master, and it will only delete the ones you should get rid of and not the ones you shouldn't get rid of. So that would be a good way of getting rid of those kind of files. If you don't know what it is, then I wouldn't touch it. If you do, if you're techie enough to where like, oh, this clearly it was from that game, I can get rid of it because I deleted that game, but yet it's still around. That would be a good example of what you can get rid of. My phone contract is ending this September. Have any suggestions? There are a lot of phones coming out. Don't want buyer's remorse if something comes out down the line. Well, you're buying at a really good time in September because you'll have the latest iPhone out. You'll have the latest Samsung out. I would say that most likely in October and November, probably, you're going to get the new LG G Pro 3, I think it's going to be, or G, or maybe they're going to call it the G4 Plus or G4 Pro or something like that. But you're going to get LG's new phablet. You're also going to get a new Nexus. So if either of those interested you, that will be after September. However, if those didn't interest you, the way it's looking right now, I don't see how anything's going to beat the Note 5. Just to give you a heads up. But I don't see how anything's going to beat the Note 5. I really, really don't. I have been nothing but impressed. And again, a lot like you guys, when I was seeing this before you guys did, and I was seeing and I was like, oh man, people are going to be pissed about this. Oh man, I know Samsung's going to hear about this. Oh man, the internet's going to be talking so much mess about this. I knew all this was going to happen before it happened. And after using it, I was just like, man, this is really so much better. This is so much better. I had lower expectations because of what I saw was coming. But once I used it, it's really impressive. It really, really is impressive. So yeah, I will say that. All right. Chris, is there any bloatware? You know, they have really cut down on their bloatware. Just to give you an example, Samsung has really cut down on their bloatware, but what I'm really impressed with, and I have the international version, so I do not have a carrier version with the carrier bloatware. So let me preface that. But secondly, I will say this, that also like apps like S Note. So S Note comes on there, right? For the Note 5. S Note has been stripped down, but then you can go to more in settings and actually add full S Note. So it's kind of like a light version of S Note, but then if you've used a full version of S Note, then you can download it. Samsung also pretty much has put all of their Galaxy Essentials, all the stuff that used to be preloaded in there, into the Galaxy App Store, and then you can download it under Galaxy Essentials. Things like Kids Mode, Video Editor, all these different things that normally came built into it, is now separate, so that it stops taking up space in your bloatware. So that's really been good. It does take a lot. It does, at least again, my international version has a lot less bloatware in it. So I will say that yes, it does have less bloatware than even the S6 had. However, again, I have to preface that it is the international version, so it can change upon the carrier version. So yes. How much free RAM on the Note 5 can pre-installed app be installed? I'm guessing you mean can a pre-installed app be uninstalled? So first, how much RAM is in the Note 5? So I haven't cleared out the RAM for a little bit, so let's see where it's at. Oh, actually, wait, why am I just not going there? Okay. So right now, again, I haven't cleared out my RAM for a while. So I've been using this for probably about a day or two, not cleared out my RAM. I'm at 2.9. I'm at 81%. And that's how much RAM it's currently using right now. However, I have not fine-tuned this phone because, as you'll see in a hidden feature, you can actually make these apps never run again. Coming in the 10 hidden features, so stay tuned for that. But when you do clear all RAM, first of all, when you cleared all RAM on the S6, what happened? You got like, it was insane. You went from like 90% to 85%. I've never been like on a consistent basis, even at 80% RAM on my S6, because it never happens. When you clear RAM on this phone, 55%. So you still have almost 2 gigs when you clear the RAM, and when you don't clear the RAM, you still have about a gig on average. That was pretty low for what I'm used to, but still it was about 700 megabits of free RAM storage without clearing it for a while. Now, in terms of can also pre-install apps be uninstalled? You can always do this on Samsung phones. If you've never seen it before, you can actually always go to, let's see, pre-installed app. Almost all the Samsung ones are pre-installed, so let's go to those. So on almost every single one of these apps, you can see a little minus mark on them, and all these were pre-installed. You can actually uninstall all of these. So if you uninstall them, you're set. So yeah, you can uninstall almost every pre-installed app or disable it. So yes, that's the big thing about it. I believe your reviews are unbiased, but do you think Apple or any other OEM can come close to Samsung's Note device? Well, so I know what the iPhone 6, what the iPhone 6s and 6s Plus are going to have. They're going to have a 12 megapixel camera, 3 megapixel front camera, and they're going to have Force Touch technology. Here's the thing: I hated Force Touch technology on the Apple Watch. It was annoying to me because you couldn't push it down all the way. You couldn't tap it. It was a light hold down, which really was annoying to me. Now, it's all depending on how they implement the software to use that hardware, though. Since I do not know that part, I cannot say if the iPhone really make an impact. However, when it comes to camera quality, when it comes to battery life, Apple will not come close to it on the Note. When it comes to everything else in the overall experience, we'll have to wait and see for us to get into the studio and for us to do a review and comparison. What about the Note 5 camera? It's freaking amazing. It really, really is. It is freaking amazing. The camera on these phones are just both. And I know you guys are referring to the Note 5 a lot only, and that's about it. But the camera quality on both of these phones, because the Edge Plus is not to be kind of forgotten about, because when I move through apps with this thing, it's freaking like, just to give an idea, I'm gonna do it far away because I have sensitive material on here, but just to give an idea how quickly this moves, everything moves really freaking quick on it. And so like it just moves insanely quick on how quick everything moves. It really is not to be kind of underplayed how much better this is than the S6 Edge, because it destroys the S6 Edge. So is it good? Is it going to be really good in camera quality? There is no phone out on the market right now that is on par with this camera. The S6 will have a similar camera quality, but the features in this one are more. but more so the video quality in terms of stabilization is better than the S6. So if you're asking me which is the best smartphone camera on the market, these two hold the title, flat out. What is the cheapest wireless charger that's not bullshit quality that I can buy? You know, I have two right now. Yes, I have two right now. I have my portable wireless charger from Lugu Lake, Lugu Lake, one word. And that's a portable one, so I take that around with me. And that's what I like to use that for. If I'm at some place, I just drop it down and it's wirelessly charging. I use the Samsung one though for every night. Every night I just drop it down beside my bed, drop it down, use that wireless charger, and it's great. I'm sure there's lots of other ones. Incipio actually makes a portable one now too. But yeah, I haven't really used that many besides those ones right now. So I can recommend something I haven't tried. But yes, those would be the ones that I would recommend currently that I have used, and they work great. And neither of them is bad quality whatsoever. How is the battery life? The battery life, as I said earlier, it lasted, so the Note 5 lasted 14 hours of continuous usage, as well as I had about 3 hours of driving with navigation on one side and YouTube on the other side, constantly streaming and constantly navigating without it being plugged in on the charger. 14 hours of that is pretty impressive and something that no other phone that I know out in the market right now can do. I'll tell you my S6 would have died in probably 5, just to give you an example of the difference of that. When it comes to the Edge Plus, I did heavy gaming on that one, and that one lasted about 14 and a half hours, and I was playing a game off and on throughout the entire day. So I can't add up exactly how many hours I did, but I used it a good amount. I think the game took up, when I screenshotted it, it took up, let's see how much percentage of it. Oops, wrong one. Photo editor, screenshots. It took up 20% of the battery, the game alone, because I was continuously playing it. The screen took up a lot of. Oh, by the way, that was at full brightness. That was at full brightness with those two modes on, just to give you an idea. So with navigating and YouTube side by side, full brightness, 14 hours, yeah, your phone couldn't do that. I'll tell you that right now. No other phone on the market could do that. I've used them all. No other phone can do that. That impressed me. And yes, the Note 5 does have a longer battery life than the Note 4 if you missed it earlier. Does the Note 5 lag? It has not lagged yet. However, can I really say that honestly when I haven't had it for a month? I think that's kind of cutting it a little quick. But for having it for more than a 2-week period and it not lagging is an amazing start. I will say that. For it not lagging once, and you saw how much RAM I had in there and everything like that, I don't really clear the RAM. I really don't. I show it more to demo. Like, I'm like, hey, yeah, man. I'm like, what can I do? Oh, yeah, I can do this, this, and this. Like, you can clear the RAM and all that kind of stuff. Pretty good for that. But it doesn't lag. It really doesn't. And again, it's not a month yet. So, and I'm trying, as I always do before I do the reviews for you guys, I really try to use it to the full extent of what I would normally use it to on a daily basis. Because if I'm going to make it my daily driver, I need to stress it out. But as of yet, it has not lagged on me, and that's been about for a 2-week period. It has not lagged once. Pretty impressive when it comes to that. All right. Is that all the questions we have, guys? Is that it? Did we get through every question you guys had? Wow, we've had over 200 people watching this in this time frame. That is definitely the most we've ever had. So thank you guys for watching. It's really cool that all of you guys watch it. This episode, and yeah, we have a lot of questions. I don't think we have any more though. Did we just run out of all the questions? I think we did. Yeah, I see nothing new so far. I'll give it a second. Thank you guys for watching, and next week we will be trying something different. We're going to try Samsung's new feature. Samsung has a new feature on these phones, and it's a really cool feature. And what it can do is live broadcast. So we're going to be testing out this live, hey, it's picture in picture. It's live broadcast, and we're going to test this out next week. So Android Weekly will be live broadcast using Samsung's new technology. Now, if you haven't heard about this technology, we'll do a video on it, of course, but it's basically like Periscope and Meerkat, but instead of crappy VGA quality, you're on 1080p quality. So it'll look a lot better. And as you can see, even on that, I looked a lot better. So really, really great in terms of how it worked and how it was. I really liked it. I just saw one last question right here. How do I get a cleanup and on my Galaxy tab? I got random icons and adware. They're there. A game you have is putting that on there. A game you have is putting those random icons on there. It's a game that you probably put on there. It's a cheapy game like that. Yeah, it's just adding a bunch of icons, adding a bunch of there. So you have to uninstall it. Guys, I've done this video before, but I can't remember. It's an app that detects which one is doing it. Try something like Ad Detector, I believe. Ad Detector. Google that on the Google, or sorry, type that into the Google Play Store. Or adware maybe, or Ad Detector. Just type in Ad Detector, and I believe you'll find it, and it'll find out which app is actually doing it, and then you can uninstall it. Very simple, very easy. All right, guys. Not sure if it covered this. Hold on, we got some more questions. Not sure if you covered this, but do you think a case is necessary for either phone or even a skin? I did immediately. Now, a lot of cases aren't out for it yet, right? Because I had it before it came out, so cases weren't out for it yet. This one is just a really simple clear case. I'm going to trade up as soon as I get a better case for it. I do like now a lot of people don't, so and I can understand why. If you ever drop your phone, I wouldn't get this case, but if you don't, the Samsung Clearview covers actually, or not, sorry, not the Clearview cover, the protective clear case. I just call it a clear case, clear backing. It's just a clear backing, and it shows off the phone. It makes the phone look sexy. I like those. I really do. Like, you know, it protects the corners, which is all I need to protect, and it shows the phone off. I like that case. Now, I'm going to be getting cases from OtterBox, Spec, and some other case manufacturers. We love them at Ask the Android Guy, so luckily they are sending us some of their cases for both of these phones. So we will be reviewing those cases. I would get a case for the Edge more than the Note 5, simply for the fact that if you break the Edge Plus screen, it's a lot more to pay for than the Note 5 one. So I would definitely get one for the Note Edge. In my opinion, I would definitely get one for there. Best review, very informative. Thank you, Chris, for that. I will try to make a great review for you guys, and hopefully one you guys will like. All right, I think that's it now. I think we've answered all the questions. Thank you guys as always. Went almost a full hour today. Wow, just a lot of viewers on here today. We got close to 300. So thank you guys for your time. We do this every Sunday at 8 p.m. Next week, make sure you tune in to ask all your questions live. Email me at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com. But it's just going to be kind of because of how I believe. I haven't tried it yet, but I believe video broadcasting will only allow me to see your comments as they come in. We'll see if that's not the case. But because of that, it's more going to be of a Q&A next week. So ask your questions, email them to me, and ask them live. And as soon as I get them, I will answer it. So that's how next week's will work. All right, guys, thank you as always for watching. Make sure to give that like thumbs up down below. If you are watching this right now, just give it a like thumbs up. It really helps us out and helps us pay the bills and keep the lights on, which I want my lights on. All right, guys, thank you for watching. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.